Okay, so Curator and Curator asks, is there a relationship between the scrolls of the apostles and the icons of Pentecost and the head coverings in 1 Corinthians 11? In a manuscript of the Gospels from the 6th century Byzantine, there's an image of Mary speaking between the apostles with her veil paralleling the dome of heaven above them, standing on rough but translucent sapphire earth. In more common depictions today, I see the glorified cosmos under the apostle, gathering their words in a single garment. Could the tongues of fire on their heads represent the glory of God and their testimony of Jesus, the glory of man? So it has to do, it does to a certain extent, you could say, have to do with glory. It has to do with multiplication. That's what it has to do. And so you can understand that the tongues of fire, we want to represent them. They received tongues of fire. That is, when they spoke in all the languages. They received a tongue of multiplication, which can move out into the world and express the gospel in a way that is understandable to all peoples in the entire world. And so that is what ultimately the idea of the tongues of fire represent, what they are. That's just what they are. That's what tongues of fire are. And so whether or not it manifested itself as some kind of vision of something above their heads, like, it doesn't seem to say that in scripture, but it's okay. It's great to represent it that way. I think it's important because it really is a visual representation of this fire which comes down from heaven, right? So it's like you can see it in the icon. You have this fire. It's like this fire coming down from heaven and spreading through the apostles out until the ends of the world. And so there's a subtle version of that, which is the actual fire, the actual capacity to spread the word and manifest the logos and fill the world with logos. And then there's the doing of it and the results of it, which are the specific traditions or specific embodiments of that happening. So it's like it's the actual liturgies in Slavonic, or the Bible translated in different languages, or the saints, the commemoration of the saints of all these different lands, of all this multiplicity, kind of having a concrete realization, right? So you have the active part. So think about it exactly like I explained the icon of Christ. And so you have Christ blessing with his right hand, and then he's holding a book in his left hand. The blessing is the capacity to affect the world directly, right? The capacity to bless, to curse, to heal, to do all these things. And then the book is the result of that in the world through all the memories of that, all the writings, all the liturgy, all the art, all, the remembering of your name in the book of life. All of these things are the result of the active part. So think of the icon of Pentecost that way, right? So you have the active part with the fire, and then you have the passive part, or the receptive part, or the manifested part in the cosmos itself, in the world, as it reaches its fullness. Hope that makes sense, man. This stuff is hard to talk about because it's yeah. So hope that makes sense. But I don't see a relationship between the veil. I'm afraid not. There's the veil that is the way that's represented in the icon of Pentecost is more like it's kind of like a container, right? It's this cloth which holds rather than the idea of the higher veil. You could say there's a relationship between the lower veil and the higher veil, just like there's a relationship between the lower waters and the higher waters. But that is not what I'm not going to go into that here. You can find other places where I've talked about that.